Oh, hi, hello. Welcome to the, oh my, Daily Tarot Buffet brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene, Priestess of Losia. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the transiting moon into Taurus, Taurino. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for your continued support. It's a delight and an honor and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to do so. You belong to Welcome Home. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension. Here we deliver sacred messages from behind the veil. Again, if anything resonates deeply with you, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a consult, send a donation. If you can, please, and thank you. Go ahead and smash that like button right now. Right now, we're going to be using the Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley, illustrated by Lady Frida Harris, published by US Game Systems to impose the guidance. We will also be using the Cosmic Coven Tarot, the Minor Arcana, to deliberate the findings. That's by Lisa Lazenby, published by Ripe Avocado, and we use this deck to clarify any type of pairing or matching energy. And then we also use the Vita Sibila Daily Oracle to deliberate additional findings. That's by Los Scarabeo, and we use that deck to clarify any type of correlative or corresponding energy. We may use additional decks, and we'll disclose those at the time upon which they are called. Just a quick prayer to all those still lost out there. Two, illusion, delusion, confusion, loss, and if you're the time traps we're in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional love, and universal oneness. Upon great spirit, we love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We ask that our steps be ordered, our path be illuminated, and that we find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we all be happy. May we be whole. May we be at peace. May we receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. Amen. You know, for the Scorpio season, when a energy is transiting the sign of Taurus, we have a seventh house event. So this event is a lunation, it's a lunar event. Whenever the lunation's in the seventh house, it actually means that it's like a full energy. It's like a full moon energy. So the full moons purge the karmic aspect of a cycle. It actually tells us for the last 6 months, we've been building up insight, intuition into what confronts us. Yes, the seventh house talks about partnerships and all these other things, but unless it's actually like Libran energy during the full moon, specifically during the full moon, it actually just talks about other things. The seventh house is also a house of confrontation. It's something that immediately opposes or immediately confronts us because it's the opposite of our own path, it's the path of others. So it's what others do, see, how they act in the energy that they can impose upon our life. It also talks about shared needs. We have needs that we can't meet ourselves. We can't scratch our own back, not every inch of it. You know, there's things that we can't do for ourselves. So the seventh house here for this instance is actually going to be because every full moon we have a planet in the seventh house. It's kind of inconsequential. And yes, it does bring up relationship issues, but specifically for the full moon, it talks about things that other people highlight for us that we need to purge within ourselves. And so each month we get a different facet of life reflected back to us. And if we're unhealed, unawakened in that area, usually other people will reveal it to us through our relationships with them, however that plays out. Because here's the formula: whatever you repress and suppress so much within yourself, you tend to project it onto others, and eventually you'll attract a karmic mate to reflect that back. Okay, again, here's the formula, here's the model. Wherever we're unhealed and unawakened, that'll be a specific area in our life where we repress and suppress so much so that is projected onto others. And eventually, through being and living and walking the energy frequency vibration, we will attract a karmic mate to reflect that back to ourselves so we can heal and awaken. Okay? So let's talk about this. Let's get in here. We have a little bit of the energy already out. I checked it because I'm running short on time. And luckily this is a shorter, and so I'll actually do more oracle and do more clarifications because it's a very short. We don't have a long stanza. Some of them we have 22, 11 rounds of 22 cards. Here we only have a couple few, two or three. Okay, so we have the 10 of Swords and the 9 of Swords clarifying the, yeah, see, we're done already. We have one more round, one more stanza, clarifying the Hierophant. Okay, so there is something here distressed. I don't know what that looks like. Okay, it can be a couple few different things because we have the Hierophant. It does kind of bring in institution. It could be legal institution. Typically, it's something where we take an oath of vow to the divine. It can be an oath or vow of office. With the Empress, that would be to another person. Usually something in terms of a partnership. The Empress is the high vibrational feminine energy in the deck, whether they are female bodied, identified, or assigned, or otherwise. It typically talks about, in contrast to the Emperor, it talks about creativity and nurturing. It also talks about conception, gestation, versus inception and implementation, versus action and progress. This talks about reflection and creativity and nurturing. Okay. Now, the Empress is also the material side of spiritual affairs, and the spiritual affairs would be here. La Papa, the Hierophant talks about God duties and obligations. It also talks about office holding a rank. It also brings in monarchy. So it would actually talk about ripple effects through time if there's no royal descent. It would talk about some type of capstone or cornerstone of a situation, meaning something is fundamental, something is foundational, something is being built, and it also can pierce into the higher world, typically the spiritual world. So when I say monarch, it could be butterfly or majesty. Now, which talks about healing and incarnational healing, something that we came into this life to learn that we do. It also kind of brings in archetypal energy. So something here, the cause was made, there was an event that created the physical evocation experience. And that's what I have here because it's talking about usually a female priest, a female nun, or a tradition that deals with the monarch, the matriarchy, excuse me. So evidently in the Freudians, we keep hearing the word monarchy. What is that about? Okay, so there's this song. I know Adele sings it, but it's older than that. I forget who it is. I know it's not the Foo Fighters, but that's what I'm hearing for whatever reason. And if I'm incorrect, please don't, talk amongst yourselves in the comments. I don't participate other than a heart. There's an older song. It's kind of like a rock song. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am free again. However far I sway or I stray, I will always love you. I will always love you. Adele made it popular, but it's a song from like the early 2000s or late 90s. Because the message is coming, it can be coming into the ancestry about aid is here, but something needed permission to show itself. And it's matriarchal. It's Donna Maritata means the nurturer. It's matriarchal. And it's something that's going to come suddenly because we might have been going against the female archetype in our life or the matrons in our bloodline, even if we were not born into our family of birth, but even if we were not reared and raised in our family of birth, but maybe have had a family of origin or foster care adoption or orphanage or something like that, there's still something coming through the blood that is bearing upon us. Okay. So whether we know the history or not, And it's plain as day, but there's some kind of ego mechanism blocking it out. So the Nine of Swords talks about things that are distressed on a different bend. It can also talk about indictments, being guilty, things kind of boomerang, things beginning to buckle under the weight of karmic causes. Nine of Swords is the thing that you have to do that you've been putting off as well. The word with Nine of Swords is protracted. The lesson is usually to, the thing that's the most fearful, do that. So these are, with the Nine of Swords, things can haunt. And with La Papa here, the Hierophant, it could be that we're misaligned spiritually. There's some type of tradition, it might even be written in a sacred text. It doesn't have to be a sacred text, it could be a policy manual, it could be a playbook. It may very well be written or spoken or taught. It's kind of Nine of Swords, Hierophant is the proverbial you should have known better. And I don't like a shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't even like contractions that much, but that's what I'm getting. Yeah, I'm hearing the song should have been different, but it wasn't different, was it? Yeah. Same old story from here, John, and so long. Should have fit like a glove, should have fit like a ring, should have fit like a diamond ring, token of true love. She should be here now, but she isn't. There's your trouble. There's your trouble. Seeing double with the wrong one. So it's like we're attached or we're focused to this one thing, this one frequency, energy, vibration, when really the truth or the obvious thing is kind of right in front of us since we're so magnetized to this one hope, wish, vision, image. I'm hearing the word omagio. So we're devoted to this one thing over here, when really over here it's been the truth all along. And I'm also seeing there's this painting. This is having to do with the divine. Now, the divine is coming in through the goddess, not the godhead. So the difference between the goddess and the god is we're closer to the goddess than the god. Now, when the goddess comes and knocks on the door, it's always wrathful. However, if you reach out to her without her having to come towards you, it's always compassion and mercy. It's the opposite with the divine, with the Godhead. Meaning, if when you reach out to God, when you knock on the door, it's kind of adjusting. It kind of modifies behavior. When the divine, when the Godhead comes for us, it's usually merciful and benevolent. So the thing about the goddess is it takes on a form of divinity, you know, the mother or joy, ecstatic bliss, ecstasy, or the mountains, the rivers, the ocean. The goddess takes on a form. God takes on an attribute, patience, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, deliverance, right? It's the attributes. So this is about the divine, whatever it is, however it looks like, it's about the divine. And since it's a Scorpio season and a Taurus moon, we're dealing with archetypes of darkness and deception where we are hiding from ourselves, hiding from the truth, where we haven't come out to play, we haven't come out of the light, come out to the light. We're still somewhere in the shadow and the darkness, usually within our own self. And it's typically not even a suppression, it's a retraction. Something inside of us has shriveled because it hasn't been given the nurturance and the guidance that it needs. And really, in order to overcome that lesson, we're going to have to navigate something within ourselves, inside of ourselves, alive in our own energy, frequency, vibration. We're going to have to confront the shadows inside. Scorpio rules monsters. I know we have the devil card that actually rules shadows and karmas, places where we're ignorant, or we're living a falsity, or we're alive in fear, or where, you know, there's been some type of bondage where we think all that we see is all that there is when the really spirit is infinite and everything is connected. That's what the devil card or Capricorn talks about. The other karmic sign is Scorpio. Scorpio is more of a journey energy. You have to experience things, you need to witness things, and typically you need to confront them within yourself before you can even believe it. It's a little bit scarier than the devil, in my opinion, because the monsters live inside you when you have the Scorpio energy. So that's why Scorpio gets a bad rep. Scorpio's not that bad at all. It's just intense. And if you haven't faced your own ego, if you haven't faced your own shadow, you're never really going to get along with the Scorpio energy. That's just how it goes. It's what it's going to be at the end of the day, at the top of the night, whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. So that's kind of what we have here. There's this need to refine the nurturing energy that we're around. It might have been the mothers. It's definitely matriarchal, even if it's only in the blood. We have to look at the form spirit takes on in our life. We have to go to the soothing, nurturing, creative conception, gestation areas of our life. What are the physical versions of spiritual affairs bearing upon us in our life? Now, this Nine of Swords is mirrored by the Queen of Wands. So there's places in our life where we should have, you know, stood our ground, or places in our life where we had to defend. We might have been haunted because of what we were, hunted because of what's alive in us or what our potentiality is. Maybe later on in this life we'll become adept in some kind of way. It's going to unfold over the next 2 weeks, really over the last 2 months, over the last two moon cycles. Because this is full moon season, but that's a different video. Over the last 2 months, so Aries, full moon, Pisces, full moon. Cycles have been ending. It might have been some harsh, most particularly difficult endings. They might have even been ordeals. And that happens, whatever you place before spirit, whatever you place before the divine, you will lose. In my house here, because, I'm a worker, I'm an indigenous worker. We confront our karma, we yield to the truth, and we serve the goddess. The word we use is being devoted to the goddess, and we're obedient to the divine. So those are really the three tenets that equal the fourth one. How do you obey the Lord? Well, you confront your truth. You confront your karma, you yield to the truth, and you're devoted to the goddess. Doing those three things will give you the vessel, the vehicle, and the experience and the path that you need to have to obey the Lord, because that's according to you. What is your higher power? All that really truly means is bigger than yourself. Hopefully, it's loving, caring, and kind. For some people, the divine, their higher power, is angry and punishing. Okay, if that works for you and that leads you to your path and your mission upon the earth, okay, that's a very particular path. However, usually the higher path, the path to the higher power is greater than yourself, loving, caring, and kind. That's it. Whatever other attributes you apply, that's on you. So this is saying, yes, okay, this is true. It's supposed to be expansive. It's supposed to make us bigger, brighter, and better than everything that's around us. It's supposed to give us that joie de vivre, that je ne sais quoi, that taste for life. And it should turn the tables on a lot of things that weren't working. All of the breakdowns we were having, they should have been unraveling, coming undone. All right. And there should have been a bunch of opportunities for breakthrough, but they arrived in the version of a breakdown. And typically it would have been some need for revelation. So we would have had to look deep for truth and realize that, you learn a lot more at a rock bottom than you ever do at a mountaintop. Your enemy will teach you much more than your best friend ever will. And unfortunately, here's the deal with life. Betrayal doesn't come from the enemy. We're expecting to be upset from the enemy. It's the people we let in the kingdom that tend to harm us the most. And it's the same for us. We tend to harm the people we love the most, maybe intentionally, maybe not. Usually it isn't. So if we haven't been using every breakdown to turn it into a breakthrough, if we haven't been turning all the mess into a message, if we haven't been turning all the tests into testimonies, if we haven't done well during the tribulation, and each tribulation ended up as a 5, meaning a loss, versus a 6, meaning a win, we're going to be in this 10 of swords situation, a bunch of swords in the back, or we're kind of just dragged down. It's an ordeal. But that's what this is giving. There's a timing indicator. We should check into it. Is it saying that all of these protracted cycles, now that we know how to hold our energy, we're going to begin to look for a bigger, brighter, better future, and we'll recognize that when it comes through. A lot came across our path that we didn't recognize. It. Things were not as they appeared, things were not as they seemed, and we didn't make the best of it because we didn't know better. Falsità messaggeri. Often things were said to our face that were in disguise. They were I don't know. I dislike that so much when a person isn't about what they're about. They don't come through, pull through, come hard, stand on business. They do the little tap dance around. They walk in the little concentric circles. You know, they do the tongue in cheek. This is not a high society little event where we need to have policy, procedure, and protocol, where we need to have decorum for polite society, where, shade really comes in as the saccharine and velvet smooth laser tongue. This is not that. This is where we should be in environment surroundings and locations. We should be in places and spaces where there's connection. What is connection? Trust, warmth, closeness, vulnerability. So people are saying things to us and they're not really what they mean. And the reason people are saying things to us that are not as they mean is because they're typically withholding information, because they're shucking and driving, massaging the truth to hide the facts and to protect their feelings. So if a person is withholding their intent, it usually means either they're hiding or they're being deceptive. And that might have been some of the trouble, is that since we expected better, we have to be better, and we can't expect other people to be better. We have to just attract those people. So liars expect other people to lie, cheaters expect other people to cheat, thieves expect other people to steal. Kind-hearted people expect other people, good-natured people expect other people to have a good heart, and that's just not the case. One day we wake up and we realize that not everybody wishes well for us, not everybody has our best intentions. Some people actually mean us harm. We're gonna have to get out there and figure that out. We're gonna have to navigate and negotiate out in a world. We have to remain present and participate, knowing that people don't always mean the best for us. And knowing that means we're not always going to get the truth. We're going to have to go on our own discernment. We're going to have to decide for ourselves. We're going to have to go with our intuition, go with our gut, go with our instinct, go with our intellect. And it's not going to be told to us. It's not going to be given to us. We've got to learn that. We've got to cultivate the skills and the talents. So this has given us a lot, and this is the first stanza. Let's finish this out. Because, since it's the moon in Taurus, we're going to look for the Hierophant and the High Priestess. Guess what? We got the High Priestess and the Hierophant already. Yeah. And so things will balance out, align, justice card. When we get into, like I said, places and spaces where people really they are ascended and awakened. They're not this low blow, common, petty, ordinary, basic. I don't really. The lower vibrational, the unhealed, unawakened. When we get into the awakened and the ascended individuals, will be cleaner and safer. And that's actually the promise in our life. Destiny is the 10 of Pentacles. So yeah, and it's going to require that we continue to have our heart on our sleeve, to be open-hearted, open-natured, even though we're being hunted, even though we're being attacked and ridiculed. Nine of Swords, even though it's an ordeal, it's a protracted cycle. It is going to take us a long time to be our authentic, genuine, sincere self. To have unconditional love and universal oneness requires us to have compassion for every single person and unconditional love, even if they're not safe, even if we have to take space and love them from across town or on the other side of a TRO or something like that, things will get better. I'm hearing that song, We Shall Overcome. We shall overcome. I don't know what that's about. So we're going to be using the Dark Codes Astro Oracle by Heather Robbins. I think this is Hey. It is Hay House. Okay, so yeah, authority. So we're just going to need to rule things for ourselves. We're going to need to be at the helm of the ship our own. Because yes, eighth house, Scorpio energy, mystery. Not everything's going to be clear until we're transitioning on from the circumstance, the situation, or from this life. And then here's partnership and Libra. So I was saying, the seventh house brings in a lot of that mirrored energy, and it's not always partnership, especially since it's just a general seventh house energy for everybody. It does confront us with the things that we're not seeing. And this month, the things that we're not seeing are other people's shadow, because we've been spending so much time confronting our own shadow. There's 4 stages of healing when dealing with other people. The first stage, we just get angry when people harm us. And oftentimes anger suggests that we really are advocating for change, and it might not be an active or conscious advocacy for the said change, okay? We might do that in an unhealed, unawakened, or lesser evolved or suboptimal way. This, petitioning for healing, petitioning for change. Then we grow and we evolve into wanting to explain, wanting to not to tell people off like we do when we're angry, but wanting to go around the world and preach and teach and lift everybody up by telling them that there's a better way. But that means that we're using promotion versus attraction. The quality of your life itself should invite people. You should be an example worth living and a story worth telling versus having to go around and preach to everybody. It's called attraction versus promotion. Your life itself should show people the model and the standard to lift up to. So that's the second stage. Third stage is now we have reasons. Oh, well, they're like this because like this. This person's a walking D-bag because they grew up in a horrible household, an unhealed, unawakened, no love present household, or whatever, arbitrary example. And then the fourth stage is just to realize, okay, this person's unhealed and unawakened, and I'm gonna go away with my bodhisattva prayer, wishing for their healing and awakening. And I'm gonna pray for them. I'm gonna intercede before them, before the divine, and I'm gonna go on about my business. They move how they move. I'm just gonna move out of their way. That's the fourth stage of healing. And so this is what happens, especially in partnership, especially when we are dealing with other people, when we have the Libra or the seventh house or the partnership energy activated. Here we have Juno and Libra. It means balance and partnership. Okay. So when we have that energy activated, a lot of mystery, since it's the Taurus and the Scorpio corridor, the Scorpio season and the Taurus full moon, they're going to embody the things that are hiding in the shadow. And the things that are hiding in the shadow is that expectations are placed upon us. People are going to hold us accountable when they never take the time to make us accountable for. And the only thing that we ever need to be accountable for is not being another stronghold of darkness. How do we do that? By being love. Love and light. Light is truth. So being love, unconditional love, doesn't mean we need to tolerate their behavior, but love has no conditions. We're going to love on them, love on them, and love on them, and love on them some more, even if we have to flee from them, even if to run away from them. We still got to love on them, just from a distance. Okay? Yeah, stars. You can manifest your every wish because it was seeming like we couldn't. Yeah, we've earned all of our stripes. We really went through it. Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords means an ordeal is Ten of Swords. A protracted cycle is Nine of Swords. Okay, so we really went through it. We have Lioness and Stars here, so that's Aquarius and Leo energy. Leo is heart's desires. Aquarius is soul's ambition. So we really went through it, and we did it. Lioness, you've earned all your stripes. Stars, you can manifest your every wish. We did that. We went through it. Okay. And I'm proud of us for that. I like that for us. Oh, and then Leo's on the bottom of the deck. Ah, I love it. I love it. And I'm hearing that song, coming through is all I ever want to do. Okay. Throne, your potential is endless. Mirar, mira. Treat your body like the palace that is. Protest, start a revolution. Focus on the here and now. So the reason why people were being combative with us is because they were contesting our blessings. It seemed like life wasn't difficult for us, but that's not true. A butterfly is graceful, it's beautiful. Here's the deal though. When that caterpillar is turning into this chrysalis, this cocoon, it becomes this gray, mushy, gelatinous muck inside of a little hard pod. And it looks like its entire life is being destroyed. It honestly thinks that it's dying. And then one day it emerges from the cocoon and it's a butterfly. It's no longer a caterpillar, it now has wings. It doesn't even have a caterpillar body. It's a completely new body. It's like a half the lesson of the phoenix. You die before you are reborn and you're born again, or you're anew. So it's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing us to do so. If anything that was said resonates deeply with, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Smash that like button right now if you can, and we'll see you in the next one. Until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dhanava, and Ashe. Sayonara, das vidanya, avidazay. Take good care. Adios. Bye.